Hello everyone. Welcome to Ponderings of a Priest. Happy Lent, week 2. We will continue with our ponderings on spiritual principles and practices. And the principle for us to ponder together this week is the principle of dependence. We all hate that word because one of the most prized things, especially as far as I know in the United States, is independence. I'm not sure that that's not a universal kind of thought, is to be independent. I am fiercely independent. But in our hearts, we are called to obedience and dependence upon God alone. And it can all just sort of be brought into one succinct sentence. There's only one God and we're not it. This goes back to last week's ponderings from Deuteronomy 6 of the Shema. We shall have no other gods but God. But we have all kinds of other gods. And one of our favorite gods, one of our favorite idols is us. Because somewhere along the way, somebody said, God helps those who help themselves. Well, they missed a key part. God helps those who seek Him to help themselves. So there's only one God, and we're not it. And the principle is dependence and obedience. In Luke, Jesus reminds us that we are but slaves doing our duty. He doesn't even say we're servants doing our duty. We're slaves doing our duty, and which means we really don't get a vote. And our obligation is to be obedient and do what we're told, to follow the will of God. That we are servants. We are servants. Another part of this dependence is trust. In the 6th chapter of Matthew, Jesus assures us we don't need to worry about what we will eat or what we will drink or what we will wear. God will provide that for us. We just need to trust and do our duty. In Mark's Gospel, in the Psalms, in John's Gospel, we are reminded, and this goes to our inclination to put ourselves in God's seat, to put ourselves in the sort of the driver's seat or the judgment seat, that there is only one judge, and that is God and not us. That we are called to seek knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Jesus tells us, seek first the kingdom of God and God's righteousness, and everything else will be added to you. And it's really that simple. It's that simple a dependence. It doesn't mean I'm not independent about living my life, but it means that the way I make decisions to live that life are grounded and rooted in absolute dependence, trust, and obedience to God. Nobody does it perfectly, but it's the practice of trying. And so this takes us into practices, is to practice humility. Again, humility. To respect other people and to respect ourselves. To take a position of servant leadership, of servanthood, that we are to serve, to let God use us to build the kingdom of God, not to tear it down by our disobedience and by our egotism and our willfulness. And it is one of the great lines in one of our liturgies, bow down before the Lord. One of the greatest, most profound examples we can see is in Isaiah, when Isaiah just crumbles to the ground in awe and obedience to God. So what all this does for us is it sets us free. We are free to trust. We are free to let God run the show, so then we can focus on what it is we have to do instead of trying to be in charge of the universe. So for this week, let us ponder together the principle of dependence and obedience, and then practice that through servant leadership, respect, and above all, humility. Have a wonderful week, everybody.